What are we talking about?
Hey sledders, welcome to another episode of SLEDHEAD 24/7. I'm your host Carly Applin, coming to you from historic Deadwood, South Dakota. We have a lot to get to on this show, so let's get started. For 2015, Arctic Cat brought back the name Pantera, a sled purposely built for putting on miles.
Arctic Cat hit a home run with the new Pantera. The Yamaha motor is smooth, quiet, yet a lot of throttle response. The mileage is good. It really doesn't matter mileage. You got a 9.6 gallon tank and a 4.2 auxiliary tank. Just think of the range you have. You won't have to stop for fuel for the day. You know, I'm used to riding all our high performance, bump sleds and race sleds. I could ride this all day long. This is a great snowmobile. I can ride two up, but yet when I want to go ride with the guys on the trails, this is a great sled.
They brought back the Pantera name. Think about all the nostalgia of Pantera. That was a big seller for Arctic Cat through the 80s. I mean, that was the first thing I remember with the rear gas tank.
It has the available extra auxiliary fuel tank that's actually plumbed into the main tank, giving you a complete 15 gallons of fuel. And having that extra fuel is super key.
.2 auxiliary fuel tank. You don't need to fill it normal riding, but there's a time where you need to span a big distance or you want to have that extra fuel. This is just a blessing. Yeah, did we talk about the electric start? Time once again for a little ride and talk, SLEDHEAD 24/7 style. You know what's nice about the sled is just sitting on it, the ergonomics, you feel so comfortable. It feels real natural when you're riding it. In the corners, lays nice and flat. This windshield is nice and big, yet I can see over it. And the wind protection, you have these side flares, and that helps in the cold days. Kick that wind around you. So between that, your heated grips, and that very nice heated seat, this thing is just so comfortable to ride. And the Yamaha motor, plenty of power.
That Pantera 7000 with the Yamaha power plant, that 1049cc motor, just absolutely rips. You could go into the corners amazingly fast, and that sled just stayed on two skis, took you around the corner, and you're off again.
This Pantera has the best fuel range in the business, and that can be real important on long trail rides where there's places where we've had to go 150, 200 miles, and there's places up in Canada I know that you have to have gas hauled in for you. You won't need it with this. You're covered.
Ultra fuel efficient engine that Yamaha makes. When you put all that together in a new package, it's innovative. Bring back the name Pantera. I think that says it all. They did a home run.
It's really great to see Arctic Cat bring back a classic name like Pantera with such a rich history. Now I wonder if Panther, Jag, and Puma will be back in action. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. More to come on SLEDHEAD 24/7, including a trip to Carl Kuster's Mountain Park in British Columbia to test the T3 package from Skidoo. Plus, we test ride with Straightline Performance as we dial in some clutch packages. And we set up our Fox Shox on the 8000 RR from Arctic Cat. Stay tuned.
SLEDHEAD 24/7 is brought to you by AmsOil, the first in synthetics, Polaris, Terrain Domination, Skidoo Snowmobiles, and by Arctic Cat. Share our passion.
Welcome back to SLEDHEAD 24/7. Now everyone likes a little extra giddy up in your ride, and Straightline Performance is always testing to ensure you have the best performance for your machine. Let's find out more.
Jason with Straightline Performance. Here today we're going to talk a lot about clutching. You know, the biggest thing we're looking at is designing and developing a straight-line clutch kit. What comes with it? What do we need to do? How do you do it? What are the changes? How did people make changes? You know, we get so many tech questions weekly. You know, and the biggest one is, how did you come up with a clutch kit? How did you do it? You know, the black art out there. Biggest thing we're looking at, you got your primary, your secondary clutch. You know, all the components, whether it be, you know, the springs we're talking about, some helixes, you know, different ramps for a Skidoo. You know, the options that are out there are endless. Which ones do we use? How do we choose? How are we going to make these decisions? And what are we going to do to make those decisions so we can get you that performance kit that you're designing? The biggest thing we're looking at right now is we want to find out where the peak power is and what the curve looks like to generate the most power. You know, according to this machine, we're looking 7,900, 8,000, you know, all the way out to that 100, 110 miles an hour here. So our biggest thing, we're going to go out in the field. We're going to see some adjustments from the chassis dyno to the field. That's real common. But the biggest thing we're looking at is we know what we want the curve, what that engine RPM curve to look like in the field so we can make those adjustments. We can try so many options on the chassis dyno that would take months out in the field. We can scale those back down and do a couple days on our chassis dyno that are in field testing, you know, is narrowed down. Here we are, we're just out of the dyno session. We're in the field. We've got an entire lineup of machines here for you. Step one of this infield testing here, we've got to do some acceleration rates, some mile-an-hour testing. We've got an entire fleet of machines here for us to test. Doing a quick comparison between a stock one now and a clutched one, side-by-side gun testing. Most consumers, they're looking for something that's all around, and that's really what we're working on today here, is designing that kit that the average rider can use every day in just about any condition that they're out on the lake and on the trail for. We're really looking for that baseline that says, you know, how many sled lengths did I gain? How much mile an hour am I going to pick up? The average question that somebody asks me all the time. So we have, you know, a real world comparison. We have just got off the lake, making some changes here to the new Polaris, changing a set of weights, making a new set adjustment on the secondary spring and helix, and we'll be back out in the field in a little bit to retry it again. Tuning like this is a all-day, if not 2-3 day project. It's not something that can be done in a day. Each machine takes hours and hours of infield testing to confirm all the previous data that you've seen in the shop. The next step, we're going to move to the trail. We've got to show you some back shifts, some on and off the gas that they work in an actual real application too.
You are having a great time, and you do notice the difference coming out of those corners, and the mid-range and the acceleration makes the whole game a lot more fun.
We're seeing a good 2-3 sled lengths of acceleration, and I mean, exactly what we're looking for in a clutch kit.
You know, why Straightline does this? What are we trying to achieve? I mean, the biggest thing is to end up getting a clutch kit, a performance kit that works for everyone in the market's the big thing. You can see that this is just not something that's drawn up on paper. It's an educated guess. We're showing you that what we're doing, it takes time. There's a lot of work and a lot of development and testing behind the scenes to get you that perfect clutch kit. Straightline Performance not only builds the clutch kits like you've been watching on the show here, but we also do exhaust, intake, chassis, ergonomics, tons of products for all the manufacturers. Definitely check us out online at straightlineperformance.com.
For more on Straightline Performance and how to put more power to the ground, head over to straightlineperformance.com for all your aftermarket needs. Still ahead on SLEDHEAD 24/7, we put the T3 to work in the backcountry of British Columbia at Carl Kuster's Mountain Park. And Fox is the most adjustable shock on the market. We dial in our Fox shocks for the perfect rider setup on the trail. Stay tuned.
SLEDHEAD 24/7 is brought to you by Stud Boy, traction with an attitude. Straightline Performance. Ziegler Cat, exceptional service backing the best equipment. The U.S. Air Force, aim high. And by Speedworks, straight up USA horsepower.
Time now to talk Fox, the most adjustable shock on the market.
Today we're talking Fox shocks in their proper setting for your shocks. Right now this sled, the 8000RR from Arctic, comes equipped with the Float 3 Evo X shocks. Right now this machine is set up for me and my rider weight. So now David's a little lighter. We're gonna set it up for his rider weight and his rider style. First thing we do is get the weight off the shock. It has to be unsprung weight or no pressure on it in order to check the air pressure properly. Anything with an EVO chamber, you want to do is set the EVO pressure first. If we do the main chamber first, when we go to pressurize the EVO chamber, it's going to change the pressure in the main chamber. And if you've been playing with the shocks, adjusting them, you know, great for you because you're trying things, making things better. But if it just feels messed up, revert back to your manual, put it back to your standard settings. Okay, we got our 200 pounds in our EVO chamber. Now we're going to set our main chamber to 80 pounds. Set it down, go to the other side. Make sure you do both shocks, don't just do one. Okay, David, go try that. You know where that section is. Let me know. So how'd that work?
Well, it felt a little soft. I wanted to dive down in the corners and in the big bumps.
That's very easy to fix. We'll add 5 pounds to our main chamber. We know we have 200 on the EVO chamber. Well, let's do 5 more pounds in that. Go give it another try. He said they were a little soft in the corners. What's doing is it's the front end's compressing. You know, he's probably pushing a little bit in the front end because there's not enough weight on the skis. The front end's compressing. So by us adding 5 pounds to the main chamber, it's putting more pressure down. It's going to stiffen it up. It's like turning your spring adjusters, kind of the same thing, adding more volume in there to stiffen it up. Now we're just going to hook up, just do the main chamber. Once again, remember, do both sides. We had 80, we're going to go to 85. Okay, David, we got 5 pounds in it. We'll give that a try. Okay, how'd that change feel?
Still think we need to do a little more.
Is it getting better though, you think?
Definitely better, but still in the bumps coming to the corner, it still felt like it wanted to dive in.
Okay, let's go another 5. Now it got a little bit stiff at the end of the stroke. And so what we're doing is we're gonna go back to our 85 pounds, but because he thought it still felt a little mushy, we're gonna add some clicker adjustment on our compression. And by giving him 2 to 3 clicks in, increase that to slow that shock down a little bit, should help get rid of that roll in the corners. And just remember too, with the rebound, if you start adding more and more air to that air chamber, it's gonna wanna make that shock open back up quicker. So by turning in and actually slowing the shock down, so increasing your rebound, will get so you don't get that kick at the end of the stroke. So we're gonna give them 3 clicks on the compression. And there again, don't go big, don't start turning 5, 10 turns. Just a couple turns makes a big difference. Okay, go give that a try, see if it works. So how'd that work for you?
This thing rides like a dream.
Okay, he's happy, I'm happy, we got it dialed in. Just remember, with all our changes and stuff we did, if we ever have any problems or we don't think it's right, revert back to your standard settings. You know, if you want a really cool upgrade to any of your snowmobiles, look at the Fox shocks. Put a set on your sled, adjust them and enjoy.
For more on Fox shocks and how to redefine your dynamics, head over to our website where we've set up a link at SLEDHEAD24-7.com. Still ahead, we ride with Carl Kuster in British Columbia at CKMP and evaluate the new Summit T3. But now let's check in with AmsOil, the first in synthetics.
Hey everybody, Jeremy Meyer from AmsOil here. Once again, we're going to talk about another contest that we got coming up through 2015. AmsOil America Adventure. What it is 2 lucky people are going to be able to take a friend and go cross country in an amazing race style contest. You're going to start in one city, you're going to end in Las Vegas, and along the way you're going to have a number of contests and clues that you're going to compete for a number of different prizes. To find out how you can enter this contest for a chance to win, go to amsoil.com/adventure or go to the AmsOil Inc. Facebook page and register now.
SLEDHEAD 24/7 is brought to you by AmsOil, the first in synthetics. Arctic FX Graphics, make it yours. Fox, redefining ride dynamics. And by FXR, world-class outerwear.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Carly Applin, in downtown Deadwood, South Dakota. Time now to head to Carl Kuster's Mountain Park in beautiful British Columbia. The perfect terrain to test, ride, and evaluate the new Ski-Doo Summit T3.
One thing that's really cool when you walk in the shop is we get to ride new Ski-Doo Summit T3s. From the 174s, the 163s, and just see the difference in the powder and really able to work those machines.
I'm pretty fortunate to be able to be riding T3s. I tell you, it's changing the way people are snowmobiling out there right now.
Sleds we get to ride here at CKMP are awesome. It made it super easy to ride coming out here for my first time. I could take my time, slow down, basically get up anything I wanted to. And the sled wasn't holding me back at all.
It just opens up so much other terrain or options.
The 174, I know a lot of people think that they're too long, but I tell you what, I can't tell it's a 174 from a 163. The machine just works all the way from the 3-inch track to the drop chain case to the front end. It is just a perfect match.
Every single person, honestly, that's been on it has rode it and said, wow, I didn't think it was going to be that easy.
We're getting ready for day 2 to go up and ride up in the hills up here in beautiful British Columbia. We're at CKMP on our new T3s. It's going to be a fantastic day.
Anybody who can hop on it, it just makes them have more confidence right away. And when you have confidence, or more confidence, then you're having fun.
Really starting to find out, balance between sled, rider, and the conditions are so different from what I'm used to that it's been unreal so far.
What's so cool about these 174s is you can slow down and pick your way through the trees and actually kind of get an idea of like where to go, where to look, and not feel like you're going to get stuck. Just keeps a little bit of momentum. These things I find if you either are nice and easy on the throttle, just keep it rolling, or give it all it's got and just dig and go.
I just ride around and see some lines that I think I'd like to hit, and every once in a while when we get time, I'll point it up a hill and give her a shot, and it's amazing what this thing will climb through.
If you just carry a little bit of momentum, it hardly ever gets stuck, just strictly because of the traction. You don't have to be a fantastic rider to reap the benefits from it. You get somebody who's just starting off on it and they park uphill like this, normally you'd be stuck, on a shorter sled, and that thing will still just take off. It takes a lot of the guesswork out because it just makes it forgiving. Like you really have to ride it to believe it.
You can actually side hill things through the powder. You can actually look ahead a lot easier to be able to climb through the snow and keep your momentum going.
I've been told I'm being spoiled for this my first time being out in the mountains, and it truly makes it so much easier to get around. You can take your time, pick out where you want to go. You're not having to worry about getting stuck all the time, and it makes it so much easier for someone to hop on a snowmobile and come out to a place as wild as this is.
I mean, that 174, in my opinion, it's almost cheating. It's so easy to ride. It takes a good rider and makes him a great rider.
Typically, it was either a trail sled or a mountain sled, you know, and they've done such a great job now that the thing has got great trail manners. And then when you get it into the Alpine, it's you don't have to hang your leg off and be aggressive, and you can just stand on it like normal, put your weight on the one side, give it a little bit of a counter steer, and whew, you're side hilling.
If you have a chance to ride the new T3 174, you'll become a believer too. And take my word for it, it does make you a better rider. That's all the time we have for you for this episode of SLEDHEAD 24/7. Make sure to tune in next week for another action-packed episode. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and who knows, you might just ride with us this season. I'm your host, Carly Applin, and from all of us here at SLEDHEAD 24/7, thanks for watching.
How'd I do, boss?
You're 88. You're 6 miles an hour slower than anyone else on it.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.